From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Lisa Laporte. Canada's ambassador to the United Nations says he's concerned about the conflict in the Middle East, as Lebanon's health ministry says Israeli airstrikes today killed close to 500 people. Bob Ray was asked if the deadly attack on communication devices last week in Lebanon constitutes terrorism.
I do not like to get into the business of name calling, but I do believe, I said before, I'll say it again, we have to be wary of any escalation.
The NDP urged the Liberals earlier today to recognize Palestinian statehood, warning a conservative government wouldn't protect international law in the Middle East. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly joined Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in New York today ahead of the 78th meeting of the United Nations General Assembly at a time of geopolitical instability around the world. Joly says it was important Canada was involved in conversations about peace.
Many tensions in the world, definitely in Asia. There are 3 wars also happening in Europe, in the Middle East, as well as in Africa. And we know that there's a link between what's going on in the world and what's going on at home.
Joly is set to deliver Canada's national statement to the UN later during the General Assembly, emphasizing Canada's commitments to promoting multilateral cooperation, human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Grain workers at terminals in Metro Vancouver are set to go on strike tomorrow. The union representing the workers says a 72-hour strike notice was served to the Vancouver Terminal Elevators Association, noting the company invested very little effort during last week's negotiations. A statement from the association says it couldn't come to an agreement on a new contract after mediated talks ended August 26th without a deal. Parts of Cuba and Mexico are under hurricane watches as a cluster of storms south of the Cayman Islands are expected to strengthen into a major hurricane in the coming days. And jazz saxophone player and composer Benny Golson has died at the age of 95. Golson died at his home in Manhattan after a short illness following a musical career that lasted more than 7 decades. It saw him work with the likes of Dizzy Gillespie, Lionel Hampton, John Coltrane, and other jazz luminaries. But he built much of his reputation as the composer of standards like Killer Joe, Along Came Betty, and I Remember Clifford. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays play host to the Boston Red Sox in Major League Baseball action tonight. Hall of Fame hockey player Mark Messier will headline Amazon's NHL broadcast. The company has unveiled its plans for prime Monday night hockey, including an on-air cast that will see Messier work as an analyst for select games. Shows will be broadcast from the home team's arena starting October 14th when the Montreal Canadiens play host to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And 5 Western Hockey League teams are looking to host the 2026 Memorial Cup. The Canadian Hockey League says the Brandon Wheat Kings, Kelowna Rockets, Lethbridge Hurricanes, Medicine Hat Tigers, and Spokane Chiefs have all submitted bids to host the league's championship tournament. Hosting guarantees a team a spot in the event, and the winning bid will be announced this coming December. And Team Canada is heading back to the Davis Cup quarterfinals. From the Canadian Press, I'm Lisa Laporte.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.